If anybody has black parts, I need them, okay? I only work in black. And sometimes very, very dark gray.
Use the yellow bricks.
Hey guys, can I help?
No, it has to be this way. No, I need that.
Where is he?
Anyone know what this is, and do you need it?
I think we could use wings, rocket boosters.
Ew, get your retro space stuff out of my area.
You guys, hey, just tell me exactly what to do and how to do it.
Emmett, don't worry about what the others are doing. You must embrace what is special about you.
Hey, howdy, hey, Lego Master Builders, Wolfman47 here. So, anyone who knows me well knows that I love Lego. I love building it. I love making my own creations or just following the instructions for a set, and I just love it. It's my go-to when I need to cool down and chill and just want to focus on something that isn't like, I don't know, YouTube or seeing friends or whatever, because I do have quite a busy life, I'll admit. But there are times where despite what I'm building, it can be a bit tricky to sort out. And today I'm going to give you like 10 different Lego sets that I've had or still have that were quite frustrating to build or were frustrating after building and didn't work or whatever for whatever reason. So yeah, because you know, every Lego builder, one of the struggles we have is building these sets and then realizing that there are some frustrating bits like parts missing or the build just doesn't match up to the box or whatever. So yeah, I'm just going to give you 10 different sets that for me have been either kind of frustrating to build or frustrating to use after build. So let's get to it. So starting off with the globe. So this is set number 21332, and this one has an interesting story behind it. So quite a couple of years ago, not long after the pandemic, me and my colleagues decided at work, one of my workplaces, went into London for a press conference and dinner, because we were doing a video project with the Court of Protection on how people like me should be treated in court. And we were invited to a press conference, had a lovely lunch there, and then we went around sort of exploring London. So going up to Westminster Palace and just having a good explore. And then we went for dinner, and I was sitting next to one of the main people at the Court of Protection, and we were talking about Lego. And he was telling me about this set that he has which funny enough was the globe. And when he told me about it and recommended it to me, I decided to buy it. And what happened was it was one of those sets where it was fine building it to begin with, and then when it got to the actual globe part, all the instructions were getting very repetitive. Like I had to get the same pieces for every bit, and I had to get all these sort of islands and so forth right, and yeah, it was a bit of a frustrating build. And even now with it on display and everything, it can still be quite frustrating because it doesn't quite turn all the way around like most globes would do, and some of the parts are not connected very well, and they just keep falling off for whatever reason. So yeah, that's quite a frustrating build. I don't regret buying it, and I do like having it, but yeah, it's just that little bit frustrating. So Star Wars, one of Lego's biggest themes. It was their first licensed theme, and they've been making sets based on the theme for many years, and are still doing that today. And although they are getting better with making these sets, as well as just doing the same set every time, there are times where it just doesn't quite work out. One of those times where it doesn't quite work out is the Imperial Star Destroyer. So obviously this has been a set on numerous occasions. It's been an Ultimate Collector Series set. It's also been a playing set. And the one I'm going to talk about is the one that's got the set number 6211. And the issue I have with this one is that the box and the instructions don't quite match up in certain parts. So obviously the Imperial Star Destroyer has those guns on the sort of top of roof of it, and it doesn't quite match up. And then also there's this thing where, and also the part where you see the guys driving the Imperial Star Destroyer, which is meant to lift up, and then you break it open so you can do things inside. Yeah, it doesn't quite. That's also can be a bit frustrating to put on, and then trying to play with it and sort of move it around. It's not exactly easy. It's not quite like the one that's the sort of Star Wars ships that are being made by Lego these days, where there's like a little hook that you can just pull and just move it along. Yeah, it's a frustrating build because of the instructions and so forth not quite matching up. And it's even more frustrating where you look inside and it's actually not as highly detailed as most Lego sets you get today, because let's keep in mind, for a long time Lego were not that willing to give things a lot of detail, but then as they got more money thanks to the Lego movies and other things, they were able to put things a bit more detail and put more effort into their sets, which they are still doing today. But back when this set came out, yeah, it's just frustrating. So next is the Loop Coaster, which is 10303. Now this one, it's not a frustrating build as such. It's more of a case of I was missing pieces, and when I was building this set, there were points where I did need to get these sort of flat panels into the set, and every time I had to do that, it was very specific on what flat panels I needed, and I often had to go back and forth to my stash of loose Lego pieces to sort of get it completed, and ended up, just not having the right pieces. But it is what it is. And I did eventually get it to the point that it was working and everything, and as it turned out, there was actually a bag with the flat pieces that I needed, but it somehow went missing, and I found it later on, so I repurposed them for something else. So yeah, that was a bit of frustration. It's not great when you have pieces that you can't find, and then with the actual function of it, sure, it does work to an extent, but doesn't work all that well. You do have to be it can be quite tricky getting the track pieces to line up. So yeah, and the same can be said for the next set, which is 10261, the roller coaster. So this is the sort of bigger sort of roller coaster set, and one that did win Toy of the Year for and other awards as well. And in fairness, it is definitely a very impressive set, and definitely a sort of traditional roller coaster, so to speak. The issue I have with it is that to get the roller coaster to actually work, there is you can either use a sort of electric motor thing, because Lego do have power motors that you can get stuff to move on its own, or if you feel like doing a bit of manual labour, just cranking the wheel just like the Loop Coaster. But the problem I had with this is that the roller coaster itself didn't quite go up properly, and parts of the roller coaster did kind of feel like it was getting more loose than secured. So I felt I had to put in extra pieces just to ensure that it gets up and down and everything. So actually building it was fine. It's just getting them to line up and everything. It's just, yeah, frustrating. So next is the Disney Castles, and I'm talking about the one that's got the set number 71040. So this is the one that's not like got sort of green pastures and everything. It's got more blue and sort of grey, beige sort of colours to it. But anyway, this one is not frustrating as such. More after you've built it, you want to place it somewhere. Then because I wanted to add some additions to it.
A few moments later.
Sorry about that. Had some post arrive. So where was I? So yeah, Disney Castle. It's not a bad build, and getting things right was fine and everything. Just give me a moment. But when I added extra stuff to it, so the collectible Lego minifigures that Disney had, and also and also just other bits as well. It can sort of lead to the castle kind of crumbling a bit. So you're trying to get it on there, and then suddenly something falls off, and you're like, oh, for God's sake. So yeah, that's the frustrating part. Not the actual build itself, it's just adding extra bits to it. So yeah. So going back to Star Wars, next is the Millennium Falcon, specifically 75105. So this one, not a bad build, but I bought this off eBay, and it was a box of loose parts, all of the parts not being genuine Lego parts, but I decided to build it anyway. And my main issue with this one is that because it was a knockoff Lego set, the minifigures just did not look right. It was missing pieces, and I just could not, and I just found it very frustrating to look at and just doing everything. I eventually gave it to a friend because I was just so disgusted by how lazy a knockoff set was, and I eventually did get a much better Millennium Falcon in the end. So yeah, just don't buy knockoff Lego sets out there. If you think the price is too good to be true, it probably is too good to be true. So yeah, just keep an eye out. If you ever want to buy Lego sets, buy genuine Lego sets. Don't buy the knockoff ones that you find on eBay and other places. So yeah. So as we know, Lego is known to be a sponsor for a lot of different companies, and one of those companies was Vestas, and together with Vestas they created the 4999 Vestas wind turbine. This one, not a frustrating build as such, but I do find it annoying that for a set that's meant to promote sort of green energy, green power and everything, and wind power specifically, that they eventually decided to not bother with actually being properly that, but more just have it, use 6 batteries, which is a bit ridiculous. I know it's a power motor thing that they're trying to do with that, but for a set that's meant to promote green power and everything, why would you need 6 batteries? That's just ridiculous. So yeah, that's that one. Now I've had at least 1, maybe 2 Hogwarts castles. The one I currently have on display is the sort of mini scale one, which I really like because it is very accurate to the films and everything. It doesn't quite feature everything Hogwarts has, but it's very much as Hogwarts as you can get. But one I had before that was the 4842 Hogwarts Castle, which was very flimsy and just kept going all over the place because it was one of those ones that had those pieces which you can turn and everything, and if you're trying to move that from one place to another, it just gets a bit all over the place. So I'm kind of glad that I've got a more secure Hogwarts Castle now compared to that one, which was a bit flimsy and all over the place. So yeah, quite pleased with that. Now, of course, any Lego fan would want to have their own sort of medieval castle, and for me, I did want a medieval castle as well. The one I really wanted was the original Knights Kingdom one that had the sort of big base plate that I could just put all the stuff on, but I failed to buy that in time, or rather I didn't have enough money at the time because I was very little. So instead I ended up buying the much later on 70404 King's Castle, which isn't a bad set, but for a set that's meant to be like a castle, it's not really all that exciting. It's just this very square piece with some towers, but not all that exciting. So I was okay with having it just as it is, as a castle and everything, but I would have wanted to have it a bit more grand and fantastic and everything. Thank God I've got 2 other castles in the form of a Disney castle and the Hogwarts castle, as I mentioned earlier. But this medieval castle, it's okay, but not all that exciting. And the last one I'm going to talk to you about is a Barnacle set, which is 8593 Makuta, or Makuta Pterodax, the main antagonist of the franchise at large. So this one is not a frustrating build, but it does have quite a frustrating instruction. So you get to the point where you have to build the legs, and I realised that I can build one leg following the instructions, and then it's on quite a few sheets, and quite a few sheets in the instructions, and then by the time I get to the part where the leg is completed, it then says ×2, so I have to go back and do them all again. So that's like the only frustrating part about that build. The rest of it is fine. It's just anytime you have to do things twice or more, you have to be really careful, because if you misread that and think it's only one time, you'll end up having to do that again. And this was the first time this has happened to me, where I was reading the instructions, realised that there was one leg, did the instructions, going through all the pages, and then got to the end and realised I had to do it again, so I had to go all the way back and and do all that again. So yeah, those are the times where I've had Lego sets that are either frustrating to build or had some frustrating features that, well, basically got me frustrated. But I still consider myself a Lego fan. I do still enjoy building with Lego. It's just those occasions where you have to really sort of be careful and you have to get things right. And sometimes it's okay to take a break from building Lego if you get really frustrated by the instructions. Believe me, I've had to have regular breaks when I've done like big Lego sets. So yeah. But anyway, that's all I've got to say about this video. And feel free to share your frustrations with Lego in the comments below, whether it's sets that you've struggled to build, found features really annoying, or whatever. I'd love to hear your struggles with them. But other than that, thank you so much for watching. Like, share, comment and subscribe if you can, please. Those of you new to my channel and are considering subscribing, I do vlogs like this where I do where I've sort of give you a top 10 kind of list today. It's not really a top 10, it's just 10 things that I like to talk about, and that's not really a ranking list as such. Also, I do hauls, rants on life, exploring different things, reviewing different things and more. I also do occasional shorts as well, and I do gameplay videos as well. So straight up gameplay videos for one game over a series of videos on Mondays and Tuesdays, and a let's play video on Wednesdays, depending on the game in question. Although sometimes the game on Monday and Tuesday may also be in let's play style, depending on if I want to do it that way or not. So yeah, and I also do other stuff as well. See you in the next one. Peace to you all, and remember, don't buy knockoff Lego sets. Don't buy Lego sets that you know you're going to get frustrated by. But if you are going to get Lego sets that will have frustrating instructions, be prepared, be mentally prepared for that, and just take a deep breath and maybe have some breaks if you know it's going to be quite a frustrating build. So yeah, all right, toodles.
A man has fallen for a man in Lego City.
I can't sing it.